So in this next installment of the Ars Magica, what I want to share with you is a deeper look at the gemstone for the month of January. This whole month is about the magic of January, and so I want to share with you really briefly what it is that makes January as a month so magically special. For those of us who practice magic, every month has its own correspondences. And so the correspondences for January are really powerful. It is one of my favorite months to practice magic because there's so much richness in the traditions and so much meaning behind the gemstones that we associate with the month of January. So I just want to introduce you quickly to the gemstones that we're going to be focusing on for this month. And that will be the focus of this video, is introducing you specifically to garnet. And if you have worked with garnet before, then some of the things I'm about to tell you about garnet will not be a surprise. But you may, I hope, learn something new about this incredible stone. I have so much love for garnet. I have been working with these two forms of garnet that I'm going to share with you today for about 15 years. Both of the specimens that I'm showing you today have been with me for about that long, and so they've been with me on this magical journey. They've been good companions to me, and I want to share with you sort of the magic of garnets. I have a number of different forms of garnet. If you choose to purchase the monthly set that's in the shop for January, the perfume, which you'll receive for January, it actually has garnet inside the bottle. So I have little tiny specimens of garnet that I keep in my collection, which you can see here, all the way to larger pieces of garnet. This is not the largest in my collection, but it's the most special. And so to show you the two different kinds of garnet that I work with magically, I wanted to show you what is my favorite specimen. Sometimes my favorite gems are not the biggest or the flashiest or, you know, the most gemologically valuable. Sometimes my favorites have other magical value to me, and even you can have 5 pieces of the same gemstone, but they'll vibrate differently. And so, you know, you might come to me and buy a ritual set that has garnet in it and think, well, I already have a garnet. Having one piece of one stone isn't, from a magical perspective, is never really enough, because each piece is so different. I can hold 5 pieces of garnet in my hand and really talk to you about how each one is vibrating differently, and one will connect with me but another won't, and that's just sort of the magic of gemstones, in my opinion. So let me introduce you to my 2 favorite kinds of garnet, my 2 favorite garnet friends. The first is called almandine garnet. And I'll tell you a little bit more about almandine in just a second. And the other is called spessartite garnet. You might also hear it referred to as spessartine garnet. And these 2 forms of garnet are special to me. There are probably 20 different kinds of garnet, by the way, that I'm not showing to you. The reason I choose to work with these is because of the properties associated with them. Garnet, actually, if you look at the root of the word that comes from Latin, it is the same root of the word pomegranate, and that might make sense to you, right? So it's the color, it's that deep, rich red color that we associate with the pomegranate. And when we think about pomegranate seeds, we think about the myth of Persephone, don't we? And her descent to the underworld, and how she was able to get back to her mother for half of the year because she left part of her pomegranate uneaten. That Hades offered to her. So there's all kinds of rich mythology around garnet, but magically what's interesting about garnet is it's the only gemstone that's known to heal the chakra points, and it's known actually to create a clear alignment between the root chakra, which is the lowest chakra point, and the crown chakra, which is the highest chakra point. It doesn't align the chakra points instantly. That's something that kyanite does. But what garnet does is it clears a pathway. So if you've been feeling out of alignment, using garnet and kyanite together can be really, really powerful. What's interesting is that spessartite garnet actually grows with kyanite, and I have a piece of that. I've only ever found a couple of them in my gem collecting career, and I keep them very close to my heart and to my close at my side, because the combination of kyanite, which aligns chakra points instantly, and garnet, which creates the clear path for alignment, really is nothing more balancing or healing. So let me talk to you about almandine garnet first, and then I'll speak to you briefly about spessartite or spessartine garnet. Almandine garnet is the garnet that connects you to your physical body. There is almost no better grounding stone outside of the, what we might call the black or the gray, the dark grounding stones like hematite, jet, onyx, and black tourmaline. Outside of those stones, garnet is the most powerful grounding stone. It brings you into present time. It connects your ethereal body, your auric body, to your physical body, because sometimes those can be out of alignment, especially when you're doing magical work. And so it pulls you into present time. You can do a very powerful meditation where you actually imagine a string of almandine garnets, and it's sort of crystallized. If you can see, you can imagine a string of these around your waist. I do this meditation in ritual sometimes, and then drawing that string of garnets down into the earth, and it's incredibly powerful as a meditation. But almandine garnet also brings a great deal of joy. Once you are connected, once your auric or your ethereal body is connected to your physical body and you feel that alignment between worlds, you're more able to be in the present and enjoy the moment. And so when I'm working with someone who tells me they're having trouble being present or showing up to their life or feeling good about their circumstances, I will offer them almandine garnet. And they'll notice a difference. The shape of it, if you get it rough, which I prefer when I can access it that way, it has almost a hexagonal shape to it, or octagonal shape to it. And it's quite crystalline too. This one might look like it's broken, but it's not. This is just sort of the crystalline shape of it. The other garnet that I work with magically is the spessartite or spessartine. This is an incredible specimen of that particular garnet. If you can see how crystallized and crystalline it is, tiny little crystals on the surface there, and the back of it, you just wouldn't know it was anything magical, right? You can imagine walking into a mine and seeing this, and on the inside is just a universe of incredible beauty in this stone. Spessartite garnet, quite different from almandine. Spessartite is about sexual healing and potency. It draws sexual partnership, and so when someone tells me that they are looking to connect in that way with a partner, I will tell them to keep spessartite garnet on their nightstand or bedside, or to carry a small piece with them if they're looking to find a partner. It rejuvenates the sexual relationship. It really does charge up the root chakra, as well as the base chakra, and that's where a lot of our sexual repression, sexual challenges, sexual angst or anxiety resides. Any sort of, oftentimes you'll hear people use spessartite garnet for childhood abuse, because it remedies any sort of sexual issues that come from the past, and allows you to embrace your sexuality fully and then align with a partner who's going to meet your sexual needs. So, but what's interesting is people also use spessartite garnet because of all of that sort of passionate energy that it carries. They use it to infuse their creative work as well. And so if you're feeling stuck on a project and you haven't been able to make much headway, spessartite garnet, believe it or not, because of the passion that it yields, in terms of the shift that it creates in your energetic field when it's present around you, can really lend itself to beautiful creative work. Just a shift in perspective. Sometimes people will say that spessartite garnet brings to them ideas that they hadn't thought of before. It sort of unlocks a door mentally or intellectually for them. So it's very powerful that way as well. And so the set that I'm offering in the shop has a piece of almandine garnet. It's slightly tumbled, but there's still some crystalline aspects to it. Almandine, of the two of them, is the more common, but it's also the more all-purpose, which is why I'm offering it as part of this set. But you'll see that I include almandine garnet in a lot of my magical work and offerings, because truly it's a workhorse stone. You know, if someone said to me, you're going to an island and you can only take 5 stones with you, almandine garnet would be one of the stones that I would choose. So as we celebrate January, and garnet, of course, is the birthstone for January, and you can find beautiful opaque, I'm not wearing any right now, but you can find necklaces that have beautiful sparkly pieces of translucent or faceted garnet, and those are beautiful too. But I really do appreciate how it comes and getting it, closest to its natural form, because when we're working magically with gemstones, the more raw their state, the more potent the energy is. The more we refine or facet or cut and shape a stone, the less potent the energy is. It just reduces the vibration. So always think about that too when you're choosing magical stones. Go for something that's closest to what's in nature, probably most reasonably priced as well. So I hope that's been a helpful introduction for you to garnet. Garnet has been a stone treasured throughout history. If you look into Arabic history and Indian history, the garnets were thought to be great physical healers, and in fact, in a lot of, in some of the Indian garments and wardrobes, far back as far as we can see, that some of the great leaders wore, they had almandine garnets, as faceted and also rough, embedded in some of their jewelry and some of their wardrobing, and so it's been a treasured stone throughout India, throughout the Middle East, and even throughout Europe as well. We find garnets used. We know that the Queen of England, Elizabeth I, loved garnets. It was one of her favorite stones. And in fact, one of her favorite rings has a garnet in it, and so we know she treasured it too. It was a cabochon, and so it was a very interesting cut, something like what you see here, where it was rounded but translucent. And garnets were thought, like I said, to cure physical illness, and so before the advent of medication, we saw a lot of people who knew about gemstones and their properties using garnets for physical healing too. So enjoy your garnets in this month of the garnet, January, and I hope that it brings you great healing, great joy, and creativity, prosperity, passion as we enter this new year. And I send you many blessings with your garnets as you enjoy them in good health. Take care.